Good morning. Happy Tuesday. So, as promised, I came on to take you through your math to help you figure out what is being asked for on it, and also to give you some word choices for science. So, let's start with science. The science have to was a concept attainment quiz, and we talked about the first part really being vocab. Sorry, my throat is scratchy today. Being vocab, and us having to, let me pull it, just match it and add the questions. So for the bottom part, it was asking for identification. So for example, the first one said white fur on a Arctic hare. So we talked about that being camouflage. And then the next one was basically, it was giving an animal function or behavior or structure. And so I thought maybe it was asking for specific word choices. It's not. I double checked my answer key. So some of the things you could use that it's useful, for example, if it was talking about sharp teeth, you could say it was useful for eating its prey because it's a carnivore. So these don't have to be super specific as long as you're giving what it does. If it talks about blubber on a seal, well then that's going to be for keeping that animal warm in its environment. So really just a really short explanation. If it's something really clear like migration or hibernation or camouflage, you can put that certain word, but you're not going to get it wrong if you just explain what it's supposed to do. Maybe you're talking about a bird's beak, and a bird's beak has to be sharp and pointed because it cracks open seeds. Maybe a woodpecker's beak has to be really pointed and narrow because it uses it to drill to eat insects. So it does not have to be a certain word choice. You can just give a very short explanation. Like I said, if it's something clear like migration, hibernation, camouflage, maybe mimicry, some insects will look like a poisonous insect in order to mimic and keep predators from eating it. So just a very short explanation, a few words, or if you just have one good word, that's perfectly fine. So that's what you need for science. And so now let's move on to math. So we're going to start with your problem solving. And I did bring my marker board over here so that we can look at it and we can create some equations. But I'll have to move it. I couldn't get me and the marker board in the frame at the same time. I need Miss Munice's video skills. But we'll do the best we can. Okay, so number one says, Mrs. Gomez will order 4 large shirts and 3 extra large shirts. So remember, when we're doing these problems, we're underlining important information. So 4 large shirts, 3 extra large shirts. And the large shirts cost $9.25 each. So I'm gonna want to connect those two numbers. I like to connect them together. So the 4 large shirts and then the $3.25 shirts. And then it says the extra large shirts cost $11.85. So I'm gonna circle that too and connect it with the amount of 3. What is the total cost of shirts Miss Gomez will order? So, ooh, it's Miss Gomez. So I'm gonna move the camera over here a little bit, and I'm gonna use my marker board. So what I would do is I would create my equation. The reason we want to create our equation is so we don't forget a part of the problem. And especially this one doesn't have answer choices. So you're gonna want to have 4 large shirts. Well, how much would each large shirt cost? Well, we had $9.25. Okay, I'm gonna put that in parentheses. Okay, and it wants the total cost, so that tells me we're going to add these two together. And then my second amount was 3 extra large shirts, and they each cost $11.85. Okay, make sure everyone can see that equation. So I am going to work out both of these. I'm not going to work them out both at the same time. You're going to want to work out one at a time. So remember, just like with the order of operations, if we're looking at grouping symbols, we do grouping symbols first. If we have two grouping symbols, which we do here, we look first, do we have any that we can work from the inside out? Do we have any that are nested, which we don't? So then our next option is to work left to right. So I would circle it, okay? And then I'm gonna move to a workspace and work it out. I'm not gonna work these problems all out for you because I want you doing the work and I want to make sure you can do it. But if you struggle with this, definitely let me know and we can do a one-on-one. So you would make sure when you multiply, so when I do multiply, I'm gonna move the camera over here and I work in my workspace, I'm gonna make sure I put $9.25 on top, multiplied by 4. Now, why would I do that? Because then I have to multiply less and it helps me line up their place value. So remember, when you're multiplying decimals, you do not worry about the decimal to the very end. So I'm gonna start by multiplying 4 times 5. Well, 4 times 5 is 20, carry my 2. 4 times 2 is 8, 9, 10. Add my 0, carry my 1. 4 times 9 is 36, and 1 more is 37. Now I look for my decimal. How many numbers are behind my decimal? 1, 2. So then I make sure I put 1, 2 behind my decimal. So that gives me an answer of, for this one, $37. I could, if I wanted, leave off that 0 behind the decimal point because it's understood. Now I'm going to leave you to work this out, and then you're going to move that answer here. You're going to add both of those together, and you're going to find out your answer. So remember, when you're working out your equations, it should look like this, like a V, till we get to our answer. So make sure you are working those out step by step, because that's easily how we can make calculation errors. Okay, everyone clear on number 1? Let's move to number 2. Okay, number 2 says, a 5-day weather forecast is shown below. So there it gives, we will always want to look really close. So I see it's giving us high temperatures and low temperatures. It's giving us different forecasts like cloudy, sunny, rainy. Based on this forecast, on which days will there be a difference of 23 degrees between the high and the low? So this is something you're going to have to work out. On each day, you're going to have to subtract the low from the high. You always subtract the smaller number from the bigger number. And if it's 23 degrees, you're going to, I would just circle it. And then when you're done, you can write how many days. So let's do Monday together. So Monday's high temperature is 58. And its low temperature is 35. 8 minus 5 is 3. 5 minus 3 is 2. Does that match what it asked for, a difference of 23? It does. So I am going to circle Monday. Okay? You're going to do that for each one, and then you're going to count up how many days. When you subtract, you get the difference. And remember, the difference is an answer of a subtraction problem. Okay? So we're going to look at number 3. The regular price of pizza is $14.26. John paid 75 cents less than the regular price. So they wrote 75 cents like this. Do you know when you subtract it, you must put it in decimal form. So you must rewrite it like this, okay? Because you don't want to get those place values mixed up. He also paid $1.34 for a drink. What is the total amount John paid for these 2 items? So again, a 2-step problem. So let's set it up. So we're going to have first, the pizza cost $14.26. Now remember, first thing we have to do is we have to subtract 75 cents because he paid 75 cents less. You see that? You're not going to try to subtract them side by side. You're going to move over here and you're going to line up those decimal points. It's so important when you add and subtract decimals that you line up your decimal points. Then you're going to make sure you don't forget the last step and add how much he paid for that drink. $1.34. 4. Let me show it to you. See? Does everyone see that equation? He's first going to subtract the 75 cents. This is for the pizza. And then he's going to add the money for the drink. Okay, this is all adding and subtracting decimals, so make sure you're lining them up. Double check your calculations. Oh, I almost dropped my paper. Or have your parents double check them. So that was number 3. Number 4 says, Iris bought 9 pounds of sugar. She used 2 1/8 pounds of sugar to make brownies, 3 3/4 pounds of sugar to make cookies. She needs 4 pounds to make cakes. Does Iris have enough sugar left to make the cakes? So this is a very, very very careful multi-step problem you need to work. You need to work it very carefully. So she bought 9 pounds. So we start with 9. That is how much she bought. That is how much she has. But, she used means subtract. Use means take away. She used 2 1/8 pounds to make brownies. And she also used 3 3/4 pounds to make sugar cookies. So you have to add those two mixed numbers in order to subtract it. She needs 4 pounds. So you're going to work this problem out. If you get 4 pounds, then you're going to say, yes, Iris does have enough sugar to make her cake. She needs 4 pounds. If she has less than 4 pounds, you're going to say, no, she doesn't. Now, let me caution you. Please don't just write yes or no. I need to see your work. So you need to make sure that you are showing your work. So I need to see you have worked this out. You have found a common denominator, which I can look at 8 and 4 and know I can multiply this 3/4 by 2/2 and find my common denominator. You cannot add fractions that have unlike denominators. And if you are unsure of how to add mixed numbers, guess what, guys? We have it in our notebook. So we have step by step how to add fractions with unlike denominators. We also have step by step how to add fractions with whole numbers, mixed numbers, in case you have to borrow or you were going to have to carry one over to the whole number. You always add or subtract the fractions first, then you would bring in the whole numbers, okay? Everyone clear on that equation? It can't just be a yes or no. It has to have an answer. I need to see your work, and I need to see she has 4.5 left. Well, then yes, she has. Then you can write yes. Or you work it out and she's only got 2 1/4. So then you're going to say no. But it can't just be a yes or no question. You have to show me work. So be careful with that. Looking at number 4. Oh no, we just did number 4. So on the next page, I know it says on the, and I had a question about that yesterday with the student. She said, do the problem solving front and back, and she said it didn't have a back. The back means the next page. It just wasn't ran front and back. So it's the first 10 questions that you're going to answer, and it matches your answer document that I sent to your parents through Remind, and then hopefully today WebNet is up, which is a program where I can email all your parents and attach something all at once to them. So hopefully you'll get that. Number 5 says, Justin cut a board that was 86 25/100 inches long. He cut it into 3 pieces. So when it talks in, he cut it into 3 pieces. He's cutting it and making 3 equal pieces. What operation does that tell us? That sounds like division. He said the first piece was 47 3/10 inches. The second piece was 9 51 inches long. How long was the third piece? Okay, so that's why we need to read all the way through, because I was thinking they were going to have us divide, but these aren't equal pieces. As you read on, they're different sizes. So you're going to start with what you already had, 86 25/100. okay? We're gonna subtract the two pieces that were already cut. But first we have to find out how much was cut. So 47 and 3/10. And then we also have to add that last piece, 9 and 51 hundredths. Okay, now I want to show you with this. So the first thing I would obviously do was add these two right here. Okay, before I add those, I'm going to bring down what's left of my equation right there. Okay, I'm not going to add them right here. I'm going to move to a workspace. So I usually like to draw a little line, or you can have scratch paper, that's fine. You don't have to send me the scratch paper, just if you can just show me the equation and then how you were getting that nice V shape of progression. You don't have to show me all of the scratch paper. So we would add 47 and 3/10, okay? We're gonna line up these decimals. We're gonna add 9, and oh, I need to make this a little closer there because I need more room, and 51 hundredths. Now, the reason I needed more room is because guess what? This has tenths, this has hundredths. I'm going to make sure I add a 0 for my place value. 0 plus 1, because it doesn't change. 47 and 3/10 and 47 and 30 hundredths are equivalent. It doesn't change it if I add a 0 at the end. It's just helping me keep those place values straight in my work. It keeps my calculation straight. So 0 and 1 is 1, 3 and 5 is 8. I make sure I bring my decimal down. 7 and 9 is 16, carry my 1. 4 and 1 more is 5. So now I'm going to add that to my equation, okay? And then you'll work out this final step and get the answer, okay? Remember that, make sure to add your labels. So the label to this one would be inches. Anytime your answer's money, it's fine if it's just got the $sign on it. Most of these were money. On number 2, it would be days. And number 4, we talked about it being yes or no, okay? That's how you work number 5. I've worked half of it for you. You can absolutely finish the rest. I think you can. I know you can. So let's look at number 6. Number 6 says, Beth has 924 feet of ribbon for making bows. She wants to put 26 feet of ribbon on each bow she makes. Each bow she makes. What is the greatest number of bows Beth can make with this ribbon? So this is definitely division. Remember, when you're doing division, 5th grade never works with negative numbers, so your large number is always going to be under your house. 924. You're going to divide it by, she wants each ribbon to have 26. Now, you very well may have a remainder here. Absolutely. Remember, there's several things we can do remainders. We can ignore the remainder. It can make us add one to it. Like, for example, if I was trying to buy, 56 Cokes, and they came in packs of 12, and I had a remainder, I would want to buy one more pack than what my answer is, so that everybody at my party could have a Coke. So you really have to think. She wants to know the greatest number of bows she can make. So if you have a remainder, you really have to think, am I going to ignore the remainder? Is it going to make me add one? This one you would not divide into a decimal, okay? It's going to be one of those two. So I'm giving you that hint. It's going to be one of those two. And your label is going to be bows. The greatest number of bows she can make with the ribbon she has. And she wants to only use 26 on each bow. So let's look at number 7. Number 7 gives us a table. The table shows the number of likes 3 YouTubers received on a video. The number of likes for Dan's video is missing. So if you can see the chart, it's got several. It's got Adam, it's got Peter, it's got Benny, and Dan's missing. Dan's number of likes is 32,792 less than Adam's number of likes. So then first to find Dan's, you're going to have to subtract 32,792 from Adam. Then, that's only a halfway answer. What is the combined number of likes for these 4 YouTubers? So once you subtract 36,792 from Adam, That's going to give you Dan. Then you're going to add up every single one of them. Don't miss a YouTuber. Don't miss Dan. Don't miss Adam because you subtracted 36,000 to get Dan and then only add the 3. You still have to, what I suggest is, again, writing it in an equation, but also writing Dan's amount in here so you don't forget that you have to add up all 4 of those, all of them. And your label would be likes. Number 8 says Amber spent $4.48 on a latte. That's coffee. I'm about to make me a coffee, a latte. Every day for 14 days. Ooh, she's rich. She's spending $4.48 on coffee for 2 weeks, every single day. What is the amount of money Amber spent on these lattes? So this should be a simple multiplication problem. You're multiplying $4.48 each day she spent it times 14 days. It's pretty straightforward. I highly suggest remembering our procedures and multiplying it this way with a smaller number as your second number you're multiplying. And then you just go one at a time. And remember, don't forget, you use the decimal at the very end. You count how many numbers go behind it. So we've got 2 more to go on problem solving. Number 9 says, Ryder used a full 3-quart pitcher of tea to fill 2 glasses. Those are some big glasses. He poured 624 quarts of tea in the first glass. Oh, he didn't use the whole pitcher, is what I'm seeing. He poured 58 quarts of tea in the second glass. How many quarts of tea remained in the pitcher? So again, a multi-step problem. He started with 3 quarts. He's going to have some left, but first he poured 624 hundredths plus he also poured 58 hundredths. Now, question or comment. Could you subtract each one of these from 3 one at a time? Absolutely, you could. I caution you with that because it's easier to make a calculation error with subtraction than it is with addition. So it is far easier to add these 2 amounts first and then only subtract 1 time instead of subtracting twice. It just gives you a smaller margin of error and making a miscalculation. Once you get these undoubtedly will have a decimal in it. Remember, you will need to add a decimal to this whole number and some zeros in order to keep your place value correct. Okay? Last one. You're doing great. And like I said, you can always pause this video. You can rewind it. If you're still struggling with it, you can have your parent call me. If you're not my student, you can have your parent call your teacher. And we'll absolutely will work these problems out with you. Number 10 says, Trevor paid a total of $59.40 for a 12-month magazine subscription. He paid the same amount every single month. What amount did he pay each month? So that is going to definitely be division. You're going to take his whole amount, $59.40, and we're going to divide it by 12 months. Now remember, when we divide with